Oh, I'd like to show you a few more things about the Near.js SDK and this web app where you can write and deploy the smart contracts directly in the browser, because this is kind of like a function app really, where you can write functions just like in AWS Lambda or in Azure Functions or things like that. So you can kind of compare it with cloud offerings when it comes to functions. And what I would like to show you now is how you can use the storage in the smart contract, the storage on the blockchain actually, and also to read the arguments that comes when you call the contract, when you send the parameters from the user to read these arguments and actually make use of them and store it. So I've added some support for this in the simulation. So what you can see here is two methods. So it's one for storing the message and it's another for viewing the message from the account. So what you will see here is that we will take the arguments. So we'll call this input method on the kind of environment that comes with a smart contract. It has an input and that contains the arguments, the parameters, and we have to load it into a register, and we'll load it into the register number 0, and after that we will just read it and parse it as a JSON object. And we will also get the account ID of the signer that signs the transaction, so that we know who will actually write to the storage, and we'll use that as the storage key. So we'll get the signer account ID here and we'll write to the storage with the arguments, with the message actually from the arguments object. And we'll see here that we'll just log here that we have actually written something to the storage. So let's try it in the simulator. So we will just save it, and we will have a signer account ID here. So let's call it just well, ABC. And let's have an argument here for the message, like that. And if we run this method, we should see that it creates a new storage item, and it says that this is a test, exactly what we wanted. And now also let's try to call this view method, which is just, as you can see again, it's taken an argument for the, just to see who do we want to read the message from. So we'll have the account ID as an input argument here. So let's just put that in here, and let's say ABC, because now we're calling a view method and we don't really sign a transaction at all. We can, but you don't have to. So let's just see what happens if we call this view message from account method, and we'll see that latest message from ABC is this is a test. So that's according to what we expect. And okay, we can deploy this contract. We can deploy it to the blockchain, and we will see now that we can go to this testnet explorer, and we can see that it was deployed, so that's good. And we can now also call the contract here. So let's call this, well, just have to look again, the store message, and let's say that the message is hello, this is a test, and let's just call it and see what happens. And we'll get the contract output here. Hello, this is a test. And let's see again, do we got any new transactions here? And just let's see, store message was called, and we can see that that was the message content, and we can see that the contract also logged this empty result. And now let's also see what was the content from this transaction. So if we now just call this other method, view message from account, and we say that the account ID is standalone JS test of testnet, and let's just call it and see what happens. And we see that the latest message from standalone JS test was, hello, this is a test. And now anyone can call this method, this function, with any account, and they will get their message stored, and anyone can then call this view message from account and see what was stored from that particular account. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching.